Hi, I'm Alka Batra, a senior franchise consultant representing FranchiseBazar. Today we are presenting Revival Indian Thali as a business opportunity. Revival Indian Thali comes under Barrett Group, which has demonstrated its ability to create and carry forward enduring and immortal brands such as Rajdhani, Revival, Fine Dine, Exia. Revival Indian Thali is a new, contemporary, yet traditional brand, the brand new pan-Indian thali of Revival with the dishes ranging from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, presented in a golden kansa thali fit for royalty. To discuss more on this, we have Mr. Kamlesh Barrett, who is in the management team and is going to give us complete insight about his success journey so far. Over to you, Mr. Kamlesh.
Thank you, Ms. Alka. I would like to give this a short presentation about what the group is. We are a 1947 set up company in food and beverages, and the existing brand that we're discussing about, Revival, is under the V Hospitality, which is LLP, which was set up here in Mumbai and has branches in the US for franchising also. The product that we're talking about today is the thali, and as you all know, we have been traditionally doing thalis in India for a very long time. We have created a new avatar of the thali, which is not just limited to Gujarati thali, but it's a pan-India thali. And if you look up the social media, you'll find a lot of references of the menus that are created today in our outlets, serving thalis, which not only cater towards regional concept, but on the menu you will find also a lot of menus which are created from niche cuisines of West India, East India, South India, and North India, all featuring at the same time in the thali.
Yes.
In the year 2013, we had gathered the Limca Books of World Records, where we were given an award for serving the maximum number of dishes in a thali for Revival. And then these awards have actually been going on for various publications, for various associations from various bodies, including the Golden Spoon and the Just Dial and the Zomatos, the One Spoons. So these are the awards which keep coming even today. The brand has its experience of being present in countries like Vietnam, Australia, the UAE in Dubai, Thailand, Bangkok. The franchise model revolves around a concept where the franchisee has to earmark a location for the thali where he feels that the thali will be doing a good business. And from then on, the exercise of putting in an expert who goes and does a feasibility study on the location at a cost, the architects coming and creating the brand equivalent of the outlets that we have everywhere around. And from then on, the setup of the kitchen and the procurement of the raw material, the staffing, everything that is required from a feasibility study to the first launch of the thali on a business day is all taken care of by the franchisors. Right. We follow the concept of veg for life, and therefore all our food revolves around vegetarian food in the thali concept. And we also have QSR models. We have models which are also for cloud kitchens, takeaways, banquets, a la carte, various platforms that we have had verticals about in the space of hospitality.
So we would like to get into more discussions side by side. So glad that you have discussed about how did you start and how successfully have you been running. One question: how many franchisees do we have franchisee of Revival as of now?
We have franchisees of the corporate from the Barot hotels, around 65 outlets that were existing under the earlier brand of Rajdhani. And today these brands have migrated from Rajdhani, which was exited by us in the year 2012. The
Right.
company was sold out, and then we incorporated the Revival brand today. And we are having outlets in Thane, Lavasa, Chupati, and the Bangalore outlets, as well as the USA outlets, are in the
Right.
anvil in the future.
So related to this, I would like to ask, why Revival Thali? Why will people choose as a opportunity? Apart from, you have the returns in place and the services or the handholding you give. Uh, what makes Revival Indian Thali a profitable and a good idea to invest in franchises?
So usually the thalis are available in the Gujarati concept and the Punjabi concept all across the country, but there is not a single outlet which caters to a pan-India thali. And therefore, when a franchisee looks at a concept which has this mover advantage, Revival stands up to creating that kind of a niche for the segment in the thali arena, because people are today wanting to have something new, and our menus cater to that kind of a younger generation. There
Right.
are three concepts which revolve around creating a USP for our thali, and those are we have a lot of organic raw material that comes into our thali, and therefore, out of the 44 items, you'll at least find a few items which have an organic base. We have Ayurvedic influences also on our recipes, and therefore, you find a lot of bit of inhibiting recipes also going into our food. Besides, the food that is made at the franchise outlets and even for our Revival outlets has the trans fat free oil. Therefore, the concept of having oily food and then creating issues with the heart doesn't arise for us. We have the concept of sugar-free food, allergies, menus which are made, also gluten, lactose intolerance. These are all concepts today the youngsters want to avoid it in their food, and therefore there are all things which are rolled out in.
Right. So we have a good understanding, in terms of how did you start and what are the USP which makes Revival Indian Thali a different one. I would like to understand, like any brand, you must be having a certain set criteria on the basis of which you shortlist or you scrutinize your franchisee. So in terms of any background you look for, in terms of he has to be some skill set, and then any education background, or how much time involvement would it require for a franchisee, especially during the early phase of execution.
Usually, a franchisee is measured according to the business acumen that he has, and therefore, if a person is either from the salaried arena or if he's coming in from a business arena, the only involvement that is required from a franchisee is he has to have a will to grow, and therefore we look at a person who is probably having his own property is
Yeah.
a preference given so that these rentals will kick in and transform their own space into a franchise model. If the franchisee has a background of hospitality, nothing like that, but if not, don't require to qualify for any of the aspects of being a hospitality professional. Actually, bring in our team of experts, having a background of all these 75 years of being in business. We allow the franchisee to grow from a parallel concept of a salaried person on business. We need a person who can start off the operations from scratch, where we handhold right from, as I said, feasibility to the operations day to day. We don't require any skill sets for hiring, for menu controls, or any sort of business acumen. It's all handled by the franchise.
Sure, sure. Thank you for the details. We'll go to the next slide to understand more about Revival Indian Thali. Can we have the next slide? So apart from this, as you mentioned, there are criteria on the basis of which you decide that this can be good for you in terms of which demand the initial involvement, right? In terms of speaking to trimmer and then all the teams work properly. So how much time involvement, the franchise partner has to devote?
A franchisee, actually, even if he is able to set the outlet once a week, more than a dependency on the franchisee is basically for the local knowledge of the outlet. And therefore, person is based in Ludhiana and he knows the Ludhiana market, what is the flow of the crowd, what is the requirement of the gentry that would come and have food empty out, is what we really need to get an insight from. Besides that, just the legal bindings of the municipal license and the FSSAI and all those licensing, because those are more local terms, police clearance and the backing of finance is something which is required from a franchisee in terms of the budgets that we might speak about. What is the kind of budgets that are required for a QSR, quick service restaurant, compared to a full-fledged dining place or even a banquet space in Alka and a place for rolled.
Right. So, I think there is a technical issue at the back end which will definitely get resolved in that. I would like to know, about the financials. Right? As per my understanding, offline we have the different models with the help of which, as per the investment appetite of a particular person, can go ahead with. Right. So, can you help me giving an understanding financials that it started this amount and then go to the maximum based on their investment pattern?
A small kiosk kind of can be set up in as little as 20-25 lakhs, and that can actually bring down the cost even to 10 cities looking at a cloud kitchen format. But if it's down from, you're looking at breaking of number of hours that we have for about 60 you have to look at 3,000 rupees to 3,500 rupees per square feet of property that you would want to cut the franchise on. And therefore, if it's banqueting, it's a la carte, it's thali, it graduates 2,000 to 3,000 square feet for a proper sit-down thali outlet, about 3,000 to 5,000 for a banquet, about 2,000 to 3,000 for an a la carte operation. So it all depends upon what is the requirement of a franchisee, whether they would want to do a quick service restaurant kiosk, whether they would want to do a cloud kitchen, whether they would do a thali. The financials would be based upon that.
As about the existing franchises or the outlet, what you have must be a mix of the big format or a small format or a kiosk or a cloud kitchen, right?
Yes. The one concept that probably can be visited and looked at, which has just rolled off after the COVID lockdowns, Thane. So if anybody will look at the outlet, all three formats are existing there. Rather than going to different places and seeing just the thali concept or the a la carte or only the banquets, one can always visit the Thane and look at all of them together. So it comes to a la carte, thali, banquets, all rolled in one.
Right. So we had a good understanding in terms of you start with the 25 lakh and goes to the maximum of 2.5 crore. So considering these figures, so please help in giving an understanding, a little brief about ROI, right, with the existing, or we can foresee with the coming franchisees.
Right from 2000, when we had started franchising till date, we have found the least ROI for our outlet in Mumbai, in Malad, where the turnaround was about 6 months. There have been remote locations like the one I remember now was in Calcutta, and that outlet took about 3 years to turn around because it was purely on the advice that was given to the franchisee, and he would not probably take up any of those suggestions given by us and work on its own format. Therefore, that took the longest for a turnaround. So the return on investment can come in from as little as 6 months, and it can go up to 2.5, 3 years also. If the format is big, it takes a little more while to
Right, right. So apart from this, I would like to know the whole process in terms of when a person decides to go ahead with your franchisee, and then how the flow goes. You shortlist a franchise, or you want a franchisee to find a property, and then you will be selecting it, and post to which what is the process needs to be followed by the franchisee.
It initially starts with signing up and taking us on board, and then once we're on board, we uh, try to give a feasibility for the location if the demand is for a sit-down outlets, because usually a kiosk doesn't require feasibility studies to be done. It's only on the gut of the franchisee that we take a decision whether that place will make a turnaround or not. Once the feasibility is over, then there is appointment of various consultants like the architect and the interior designer. If it's in a mall, the mall specifications that require the outlet to be devised in certain way. Once
Yeah.
the feasibility is done, we appoint the kitchen consultant who creates the entire kitchen, and we then start appointing staff, from which the first appointment is done for a purchase and stores manager. He then starts procuring all the capital goods and the operation stuff that is needed. The rollabout starts with the or placing the orders for kitchen equipment, the interior furnitures and fixtures, and once that is installed and up and running, the entire plant and machinery, the furniture and fixtures, all that being in place, the staff recruitment starts, and we require an overlap of about 1 month to 2 weeks for cloud kitchen for the person to actually start doing the launch of the outlet. Once the launch is done, the operations then kick in, and then we have the technical and the legal and the IT, the finance, taxation, training, website, marketing, sales distribution, quality standards, HR requirements that have to be fulfilled. All of these kick in when the operations start off, and therefore, as the development process progresses, we keep giving in more inputs as in when required to make
Yes.
the standards of the brand being maintained by the franchise.
Yeah, so you have end-to-end process in terms of where to start, how to start, making the infrastructure ready. There is a pre-opening support, right, post-operation support. So end-to-end you give. So glad
We've
to
been
know
doing
this is for.
it 2 years, so that's something which has been perfected
Yes.
to the extent that a franchisee's profit return on capital is something which is
Yes.
prima facie prime most for us to make sure that the franchisee is the first to make money.
Yes, yes. So related to this, very similar kind of a question I have. What type of support in terms of boosting the sales, the profits? So as you don't have a set criteria of, somebody has to be from a food. So, but to add experience to someone who wants to invest and who wants to, run the food business. So, what type of support do you give to, encourage them and in terms of their sales and profits?
The first step, as I mentioned, is about the feasibility study. So once the feasibility study is in place, it ensures that everything is probably systematized and there is a method on which the feasibility of that project is outlined. From then on, we have our brand standards on the infrastructure that is created, and therefore that creates the ambience for the place. The ambience rolls off till the opening date, and once the trained staff is put in by us from our HR practices that we roll off in all our outlets, the staff then takes over from there in terms of the training, in terms of the service skill sets that are required. And then when the production team comes in, they start doing the updated menus, which we send on a daily basis, 365 days, a fresh new menu, which is never repeated, creates that
Yes.
buzz in the market about the service, the ambience, and the food. Once all these three things are in place and the
Right.
standards start rolling off day one, we have our
Yes.
corporate team that does corporate marketing of the brand, which happens for all our franchisees and as well as our own premises. We just don't do franchising alone. We have our own outlets on which we do all our trials and errors and everything and perfect the systems of bringing in sales. And therefore, once the word of mouth is there, with the opening, the support of the corporate, the local outlet of the franchisee has to start its sales distribution, its marketing activities that we earmark as a budget for the entire process to go on with 2 to 3% of going in only to sales and make sure that marketing is to the brim and the outlet gets the maximum sales that it can drive from the operations set up with all these things. The franchisees can always talk to the existing franchisee and take a reference for how operations are, what kind of dedication is there.
Yes. So thank you for for giving an understanding, and this is a message for all the viewers who are hearing to us and would like to understand more about the Revival Indian Thali. We will have more slides to come. Please continue joining us. Please continue hearing us, and then post to which if you have an inquiry, please text us with your contact number and your email address so that we can be in touch with you and discuss in detail about the opportunity what we are representing for today's webinar. Let's move to the next slide.
As I was mentioning in the marketing part of it, we have a calendar of events which are rolled out for the entire year, and therefore festivals which are more driven towards the Indian culture. And therefore, you have the Holi festival and Sankranti festival and the festivals of Ganesha and Navratri. Also the Mother's Day or the Father's Day, the festival of social cuisines, specific to certain countries like the Batra festival or the Parsi festival. These are the kind of events that roll on to that. Always a thing by the media. And there's always a nuance that we can look forward to coming to that outlet and getting a new feature every time we visit. The correction by the customer saying that we have been to that brand and we know about it. Let's go to somewhere else. There's always something new happening there.
Yeah. So in the so the marketing, right? We understand there are two levels of a marketing. One is at the level which company does for friends, right? And the franchisee has to do the local level of the marketing in terms of channelizing in his own territory. So in terms of giving the marketing support, so you have the team who does the channelization of the digital marketing and the local level of marketing, and what type of support does the franchisee expect?
We have experts in our board who are doing not only the social media marketing but a complete gamut of the digital marketing. And with that, we have all our expertise for the last 75 years in handling media, having a database of around 350 odd journalists who are bloggers and influencers who are on the Instagram and the Facebook and the Twitter, where one can actually just for a revival and find for themselves how our franchisees are doing, how the brand is doing, what sort of support is available from us for our franchisees. So there's absolutely no unturned stone that is left for being a buzz in the market for the brand, the franchisees.
Yeah, so sure, Mr. Kamlesh, we have good understanding in terms of the whole deliverables which you give, the complete understanding of our franchisees and the support which you are going to provide as a part of the discussion, right? And so there is no specific question we receive. Obviously, we are going to upload the same webinar link to all our social platform to understand, to get the leads. That is a continuous process which we follow. And this is a message for all the viewers who hear us. They come on every Monday at 4 p.m. to discuss and to pick one opportunity for a day. So you can visit our website franchisebazar.com to come to know the different opportunities with Revival Indian Thali, as well as the other opportunity in the food as per your location, as per your requirement in terms of the investment you would like to start with. And then you can reach on the email address which is flashing on the screen, and so that's how you can contact us on the social media as well. So Mr. Kamlesh, any message to the business seeker who would like to last word for all the business seekers who would like to take franchise of Revival Indian Thali?
I would like to mention that our franchisees have come back to us for more outlets only because they have social attached to our brand. And therefore, if you look at our outlets, we have people who are differently able, which is more of a physically challenged kind of people who can't hear, can't speak, are employed by us. There are times today of pandemic require a lot of sanitization and safety standards which are on inbuilt, and my role at the Hotel Association of All India gives me an upper edge over creating sanitary conditions, hygienic conditions in our following the HACCP standards, or also looking at the SOPs which the Government of India shares for creating a safe and healthy option in the food for our franchisees, and that comes as a social cause also for all our franchise outlets. So therefore, it's not only a business proposition, but if you are inclined towards creating CSR, this creates more value than any other franchise that one would do.
Sure. Thank you for your valuable words, valuable time. And then, we are glad that we spoke about one of my favorites. I am a regular visitor of, Rajdhani in Mumbai as well as in Bangalore. So yes, again, the message to all the viewers, please contact us for this wonderful brand, who are there, for the last 3 to 4 decades. We'll definitely get your returns on time, and the kind of a support which we discussed during this live session, I think, is unmatchable. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kamlesh Barrett, for joining us once again. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for sharing this time with us and allowing our brand to be live.
So, with this note, I am ending up the session.